Few artists in the world have managed to transform classical music into a true emotional spectacle like André Rieu. Known as the King of the Waltz, he has enchanted millions of people with his charisma, talent, and the power to move entire audiences. But behind the applause, elegance, and the dazzling lights of the stage lies a story few know, a story filled with controversies, twists, and secrets that are now coming to light. What is really behind the massive fortune left by André Rieu? And why would that inheritance have made his own family cry? These are questions that have sparked curiosity and stirred excitement among the maestro's fans and critics alike. Some say his wealth was built at the cost of deep personal sacrifices. Others claim he kept secrets about multi-million-dollar contracts, controversial partnerships, and even internal family conflicts no one ever imagined. There are those who insist that the truth behind André Rieu's empire is far darker than the public ever dreamed. In this video, you'll discover never-before-seen details, surprising behind-the-scenes moments, and revelations that could completely change the way the world sees this music icon. But before we dive into this intriguing story, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This is essential for YouTube to keep recommending our content and for us to continue bringing powerful stories and deep investigations like this one. Your subscription is what truly keeps this channel alive and motivates us to go even deeper. And if you'd like to support our work even further, you can use Super Thanks. Any help makes a big difference. But if you can't, no worries. Just leave a comment below telling us what surprised you most about André Rieu and his incredible journey. Now get ready, because the revelations coming next are intense, and the last one will leave you absolutely stunned. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because the ending of this story will change everything you thought you knew about André Rieu. André Rieu was born on October 1, 1949, in Maastricht, the Netherlands, into a traditional and musically strict family. The son of André Rieu Sr., a renowned conductor, he grew up surrounded by music but also by a severe and emotionally cold upbringing. From the age of 5, he was encouraged to play the violin, an instrument with which he developed a deep and emotional connection, becoming a silent outlet for everything he couldn't express at home. His childhood, alongside 5 siblings, was marked by constant pressure, lack of affection, and harsh words, including a moment when his mother told him he would never become anything in life. He recalls never hearing praise from his father and believes his parents couldn't stand seeing him happy, revealing a household shaped by emotional rigidity and a deep absence of nurturing. This lack of recognition drove André to seek validation through music and public applause. His relationships with his siblings were also affected by that environment, and today he remains in contact only with the youngest, Robert. This difficult upbringing shaped his reserved personality and deep artistic sensitivity. His concerts, full of emotion and beauty, reflect his effort to turn pain into art, and to offer the world the affection and recognition he never received at home. After a childhood marked by emotional rigidity and lack of affection, André Rieu found in the violin a way to express himself and give meaning to his life. He began his musical studies at the Conservatory of Maastricht and later refined his skills in Belgium with renowned masters. Despite his solid classical training, Rieu soon realized that the world of classical music was often too distant and elitist. Inspired by Johann Strauss II, he decided to break away from that formalism and create a new way of presenting classical music. Lighter, more popular, and emotionally engaging. In 1987, he founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra, initially with only 12 musicians. Despite harsh criticism from purists and numerous financial challenges, André persisted. He took his orchestra to small towns, public squares, and local fairs, winning over audiences with charisma, emotion, and captivating performances. The greatest challenge came when he invested in a grand production with palace-inspired sets, which led him to accumulate a debt of 34 million euros. It was a critical moment where he nearly lost everything. However, with the support of his wife Marjorie and his loyal team, he managed to recover. His journey was not only one of artistic ascent but also a battle against the ghosts of his past and the rigid barriers of the classical music world. With courage, creativity, and sensitivity, André Rieu transformed pain into art and became a symbol of music that moves and connects people across the globe. André Rieu's relationship with his wife, Marjorie, is perhaps one of the most solid and quietly inspiring in the artistic world. Together since the 1970s, the two form a partnership that goes far beyond a traditional marriage. Marjorie is not just his wife. She is his advisor, confidant, producer, strategist, and, in many ways, the emotional and intellectual foundation behind the musical empire he built. They were married in 1975 and, since then, have faced all of life's stages side by side, from the most romantic to the most difficult. Marjorie, a strong-willed woman, studied languages and worked as a teacher before taking on a more active role behind the scenes of André's career. Her involvement in his projects is deep and essential. She participates directly in creating concert scripts, planning costumes, organizing tour logistics, and even selecting the repertoire. She is, as André himself has said in interviews, the brain of the operation, while he sees himself as the heart. Their relationship is marked by mutual respect, as well as a certain discretion. Marjorie avoids the spotlight. While André shines on stage with his golden suit and violin, she prefers the quiet backstage, where she calmly and precisely makes important decisions. They have chosen to keep their personal life private, and perhaps that's the secret to the longevity of their marriage. There are no scandals, gossip, or controversies involving the couple, something rare in the entertainment world. Instead, there is mutual admiration, patience, and a well-structured routine. André has said that Marjorie is the only person he can truly talk to about everything. She understands him like few others, including his insecurities, fears, and especially the emotional wounds carried from his childhood. Together, they raised two sons, Marc and Pierre. Of the two, Pierre is the most involved in the family business. He works as vice president of André Rieu Productions and plays a key role in the company's operations, coordinating teams, assisting in event organization, and ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Pierre grew up behind the scenes of his father's concerts and naturally absorbed a passion for musical production. He is seen by many as the natural heir to the family's artistic empire, though with a more discreet style. The relationship between father and son seems harmonious, grounded in both professionalism and affection, a stark contrast to André's own distant and cold relationship with his father. The Rieu family is, in many ways, a successful family business. There are not just blood ties, but bonds of mutual commitment. Although André has shared in interviews that his siblings are no longer part of his life, except for the youngest, Robert, his relationship with his wife and children is the opposite: intense, close, and built on trust. This distance from his siblings, according to him, is a direct result of the harsh upbringing they all received and old resentments that were never resolved. He mentioned that as his success grew, some family members became uncomfortable or envious, which led to inevitable estrangement. For André, true family is made up of those who stand by your side every day, and that's exactly what he finds in Marjorie and their sons. Beyond their professional partnership, André and Marjorie share a similar worldview. Both are sensitive yet practical. They enjoy routine, value silence, and have a peculiar sense of humor. He once shared that, despite all the glamour of his career, they live a simple life at home. They enjoy walking together, watching old movies, and talking about literature. They've spent most of their adult lives in the same charming castle in Maastricht, the Castle de Torrentjes, which became a symbol of the André Rieu brand, but for them, it's simply home. That castle, which he used to see as a child and dream of one day owning, became the backdrop of a real-life love story, with its ups and downs, always sustained by their mutual choice to keep walking side by side. In short, André Rieu's relationship with his wife and children is one of the invisible forces that sustain both his life and career. While the public sees the glamour of the stage and the magic of music, behind it all is a solid family foundation built on affection, partnership, and teamwork. Marjorie is not just the wife of the king of the waltz. She is the quiet queen who helps conduct, with wisdom, the great symphony of André's life. Although he is widely known for his welcoming smile, his light music, and shows that overflow with joy, André Rieu also carries a more complex and, at times, controversial side. Throughout his career, he has made some strong statements that surprised his fans and revealed much about his inner self. These are not scandals in the traditional sense. He has always been averse to empty controversy, but rather sincere opinions, critiques of the musical world, emotional outpourings about his childhood, and even comments about how the media and part of the public treat him. These revelations, mostly shared in longer, deeper interviews, help compose the portrait of a sensitive, determined, and often misunderstood artist. One of André Rieu's most impactful statements was about his relationship with his parents. In a rare and very personal interview, he revealed that he grew up in a family environment that was emotionally distant, where affection and words of support simply did not exist. He said, in no uncertain terms, that his mother declared he would never be anything in life, and that his father, despite being a conductor and his greatest musical example, never praised him or expressed pride. For many, this revelation was shocking. After all, the man who transmits so much emotion through his music carried a silently painful childhood. Even more striking was his statement that his parents couldn't stand seeing him happy, a powerful phrase that laid bare the level of coldness he felt at home. These words were not said with rancor, but with an almost therapeutic frankness, as if he was finally letting out a wound that had accompanied him since childhood. Another controversial point he did not hesitate to address was his relationship with the traditional classical music establishment. Rieu is one of the most successful artists in the world in terms of box office, but even so, he is not well regarded by the more erudite circles of classical music. He has stated with some hurt that he perceives a great deal of envy around him, especially from those who see him as too commercial or even tacky. In his view, this criticism comes from an elitist view of art which believes that classical music must only be consumed in silence, in formal theaters, by a restricted audience. To him, that is a mistake. Music should be celebrated, lived with joy, and yes, it can make multitudes dance, smile, and even cry without losing its depth. His boldness in blending theatrical elements, grandiose sets, and popular repertoire with classics such as Strauss, Beethoven, and Tchaikovsky disturbed many purists, but André never let himself be intimidated. Furthermore, there was a curious and disturbing episode involving the sensationalist press. In an article published by a German magazine, an image was released in which he appeared embracing the crown princess of Norway, Mette-Marit, suggesting a supposed romance between the two. Rieu quickly denied the story, explaining that it was an absurd photo montage, and described the situation as an example of the kind of unfair exposure that artists often face. For someone so reserved about his personal life, it was especially upsetting. He stated that such situations make him reflect on the boundaries between public and private life, and how fame, however enchanting it may seem, also demands a high price. On another occasion, he shared a revelation that surprised his fans. As a young man, in a moment of crisis and lack of recognition, he seriously considered abandoning music and opening a pizzeria. The idea was to name the most expensive pizza on the menu Pizza Paganini, and play the violin live for anyone who ordered it. The story, told with humor, actually hides a difficult period when he faced great financial hardships and felt frustrated with how the musical world treated him. That anecdote, although amusing, shows that even acclaimed artists have suffered deep doubt and considered improbable alternative paths. There is also the revelation about his health, which for years was kept secret. In 2010, André was diagnosed with a viral infection in the vestibular nerve, which affected his balance and left him unable to perform for several months. He had to cancel dozens of shows, causing frustration among fans and huge financial loss. When he finally spoke about the issue, he explained that he felt constant dizziness and could not even stand, much less hold the violin. Recovery was slow and required patience, which for someone with his work pace was a major challenge. This experience made him reconsider his relationship with his body, time, and the very fragility of life. In the end, André Rieu's controversial revelations are not about empty scandals, but about moments of sincerity in which he exposes old pains, criticism of the system surrounding him, and human situations that bring him closer to his audience. By sharing these truths, he does not destroy his image as an enchanting maestro. On the contrary, he strengthens it, because it shows that behind the man who enchants multitudes with waltzes and magical concerts, there exists a real human being, with scars, firm opinions, and a history of overcoming worthy of respect. Despite his image as a smiling, successful maestro who delights audiences around the world with grand and emotional performances, André Rieu has faced intense financial challenges throughout his career. Some so serious they nearly jeopardized everything he had built. What many people don't know is that behind the dazzling lights and the visual splendor of his concerts, there were moments of great uncertainty, sacrifice, and even despair. Unlike many classical artists who follow safer, more predictable paths, André always had a bold vision: to transform classical music into something accessible, enchanting, and unforgettable, a true spectacle. But this vision required not only talent and courage, it also demanded a massive and often risky financial investment. One of the most emblematic episodes of his financial life was the tour he launched in 2008, when he decided to bring to the stage a full-scale replica of the Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna. A megalomaniac project with scenic castles, fountains, ice skaters, and an army of artists, musicians, and dancers. The idea was to give the audience a magical experience, something that combined music, history, and spectacle in a single event. However, the cost of the production was astronomical, and the ticket sales, although good, were not enough to cover the expenses. The result was a deficit of more than 34 million euros, a debt that nearly drove André to bankruptcy. He admitted in interviews that it was an extremely difficult time, not just financially, but emotionally. To find himself, after so much success, once again facing the financial abyss was painful, especially because he had invested everything he had, including his credibility, into that project. The impact was so severe that he had to cancel shows, cut expenses, renegotiate contracts, and, above all, rethink his approach to producing concerts. However, André did not give up. With the support of his team, especially his wife Marjorie and his son Pierre, who was already working as an executive in the family company, he began a careful recovery process. He temporarily reduced the size of productions, restructured the logistics of the tours, and started to better balance the grandeur of his concerts with financial viability. In a short time, thanks to his popularity and the loyalty of his fans, he managed to recover and return to the stage stronger, but also more aware. Curiously, despite the luxurious image that often surrounds his concerts, with sets inspired by castles, glamorous dresses, cinematic lighting, and stages worthy of a Baroque opera, André Rieu's personal lifestyle is surprisingly modest. He lives in Maastricht, his hometown, in a historic castle known as De Torrentjes, or Little Towers, which he purchased with great effort after years of work. That castle, in fact, is a curious symbol of his story. As a child, he would pass by it on his way to school and dream of living there someday. Decades later, he fulfilled that dream. But contrary to what many might think, the castle is not just a symbol of wealth, but of personal achievement and a sense of belonging. He and his wife live quietly, far from the typical excesses of celebrity life, valuing routine, reading, walks, and a calm family life. When it comes to his fortune, although he does not openly discuss figures, it is estimated that André Rieu has accumulated a considerable net worth over the years thanks to the sale of more than 40 million albums, the staging of hundreds of concerts around the world, and the profits from his company, André Rieu Productions, which is now one of the largest independent producers in the world of popular classical music. In addition, his concerts are frequently broadcast in cinemas, on streaming platforms, and on television networks, which further increases his reach and profitability. However, he has always been cautious with money, likely influenced by the highs and lows he has experienced and the modest childhood he lived. For him, money is a tool to create beauty, not a goal in itself. André also often emphasizes that all this success was not built overnight, nor without risks. He is, above all, a music entrepreneur. He reinvested every cent he earned into new ideas, new stage designs, and new ways to enchant his audience. And like every entrepreneur, he faced defeats, debts, and difficult decisions. But his resilience, combined with his passion for the arts, led him to reinvent himself and move forward. What we see today, sold-out shows, dazzling stages, and a solid career, is the result of a journey marked by hard work, long-term vision, and, above all, love for what he does. So, when we talk about financial crises, fortune, and lifestyle, it's important to understand that André Rieu is not just a successful violinist. He is a visionary who risked everything to change the way the world sees classical music. And despite the setbacks, he never lost focus to create unforgettable moments for millions of people around the world, while living, in his own way, a life that balances simplicity with spectacle. Today, at 76 years old, André Rieu is experiencing a period of stability and reflection in his brilliant career. Still active, he passionately leads his Johann Strauss Orchestra, performing around the world, especially in Europe, Australia, Canada, and Asia, enchanting thousands with his waltzes and marches adapted for the general public. Despite his age, he maintains a dedicated routine, including daily rehearsals and direct contact with his fans. His wife, Marjorie, takes part in strategic decisions, while his son, Pierre, manages the family business, preparing the legacy for the future. André has spoken about the importance of slowing down and appreciating life, carrying emotional scars from his childhood, but feeling grateful for having transformed that pain into art shared globally. He lives in Maastricht, in the De Torrentjes castle, where he leads a simple life, surrounded by a loyal team and long-time musicians. His brand continues to grow, with shows broadcast internationally, solid sales of CDs and DVDs, and millions of online views, also winning over a new generation of fans. He is also involved in social causes, especially after the pandemic, helping musicians and supporting educational projects. André Rieu is now a symbol of resilience and generosity, with stable health and a willingness to remain on stage as long as he can. For him, music is not just a profession, it is life, and he still has much to offer the world. And so, we come to the end of this emotional journey through the life of André Rieu, a man who left behind not only a material fortune, but a legacy of emotion, resilience, and musical notes that touched the hearts of millions around the world. His story is a true symphony of love, pain, courage, and art. And as we've seen, behind every grand performance, there were also tears, challenges, and a family that today is deeply moved when looking back at everything he built. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps us keep creating content like this. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the inspiring stories we'll be bringing next. Now tell me in the comments, what surprised you the most about André Rieu's journey? Have you ever had the chance to attend one of his concerts? And which part of his life touched your heart the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And before you go, don't leave without watching the video that's appearing on your screen right now. It's even more fascinating and moving than this one. I'm sure it will surprise and inspire you. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and see you in the next video.